Hello and welcome to the first episode of Hindustan Ki Kahani, Bharat Ka Itihas. I am your host Aryan Sharma, and today we will embark on an incredible journey through time to discover the true history of this remarkable land. We begin at the very beginning, long before humans ever set foot on its soil, at a time of astonishing natural wonders and breathtaking geological transformations. In this episode, we will focus on the pre-human history of the land. We will learn about the dinosaurs, the breakup of Pangaea, the smashing of the Indian plate into the Eurasian plate, the Ice Age, and the flora and fauna that lived here after the dinosaurs and before humans ever set foot on this land. Our story begins in the distant past, nearly 4.6 billion years ago, when all the continents of Earth were once part of a large supercontinent known as Pangaea. Over time, Pangaea began to break up, and all the continents reached where they are today. The Indian continent was a part of a large supercontinent known as Gondwana land, which also included Africa, South America, Australia, and Antarctica. Gondwana land was a supercontinent that existed from about 550 million years ago to around 180 million years ago. It was formed when all the southern continents of the earth collided and fused together. Gondwana land was a massive supercontinent and it covered around half of the world's land surface. Around 180 million years ago, the supercontinent Gondwana land began to split up. The Indian plate broke off from the African plate and began to drift northward. As it drifted northward, it collided with the Eurasian plate. The collision of the Indian plate into the Eurasian plate caused the Himalayas to form. The Himalayas are the youngest and highest mountain range on earth, and they are growing to this very day. The breakup of Gondwana land is said to have been caused by the movement of tectonic plates. Tectonic plates are large pieces of the earth's crust that are constantly in motion. The movement of these tectonic plates is what causes the continents to be where they are today. The breakup of Gondwana land also had a profound impact on the Earth's climate. When Gondwana land was a single continent, it had a more uniform climate, but as it began to break apart, the different continents began to have different climates. For example, when the Indian subcontinent was a part of Gondwana land, it had a more tropical climate, but when it reached the Eurasian subcontinent, it had a more temperate climate. The breakup of Gondwana land also led to a diversification of the life on Earth. As the continents began to break apart, the flora and fauna that lived there were made to be isolated from each other. Over time, this isolation led to the development of new species. The Indian subcontinent has a rich fossil record of various dinosaur species. Some of the notable dinosaur species that are found in the subcontinent include Rajasaurus narmadensis. Rajasaurus was a theropod dinosaur that lived in the Cretaceous period, about 70 to 66 million years ago. Its fossils were found in the Narmada Valley of central India. Rajasaurus was a carnivorous dinosaur, most likely a predator, and it had unique crests on its skull. Barappasaurus tagori. Barappasaurus was a large herbivorous dinosaur that lived in the Jurassic period around 185 to about 170 million years ago. Its fossils have been found in various parts of India, from Gujarat to Jharkhand. Barappasaurus was a relatively long-necked dinosaur with a small head and a large body. Indosuchus raptorius. Indosuchus was a carnivorous dinosaur belonging to the Abelisauridae family. It lived during the late Cretaceous period, around 70 to 65 million years ago. Its fossils have been found in India, particularly among the Lapeta formations. Indosuchus had a massive head and very strong jaws. This suggests that it was a formidable predator. Other dinosaur fossils have also been found in India, like the Titanosaurus indicus and the Isisaurus colberti. These fossils have been found mostly in central and western India, like the states of Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh. The discovery of these fossils has increased our understanding of these ancient ecosystems and also helped us understand about the evolution of dinosaurs in India. About 50 million years ago, the Indian plate collided with the Eurasian plate. This was after the extinction of the dinosaurs. This collision caused the Himalayan mountains to rise. The Himalayan mountains are the youngest and highest mountain range on the world and are a home to a large variety of flora and fauna. As time went on, the climate of the subcontinent continued to shift, with periods of intense heat, heavy monsoons, and ice ages shaping the natural features of the landmass. Mighty rivers like the Indus and the Ganga began to carve out their path through the subcontinent, fertilizing the land and nurturing the early life form. The Indian subcontinent was home to a large number of prehistoric animals throughout different geological periods. Here are some notable examples of the prehistoric animals that inhabited the subcontinent. Indricotherium. Indricotherium was a large herbivorous land mammal that lived during the Eocene epoch, approximately 34 to 25 million years ago. It was the largest land mammal to have ever lived, with a long neck and a massive head. The fossils of Indricotherium have been found in India and Pakistan. Dinotherium. Dinotherium was a large elephant-like mammal that existed during the Miocene and the Pliocene epochs between 23 and 5 million years ago. It had large elongated downward-facing tusks on its lower jaw and a trunk. Fossils of Dinotherium have been found in various parts of SIVATHERIUM. SIVATHERIUM was a large herbivorous land mammal that existed during the Pleistocene epoch between 2 million and 12,000 years ago. SIVATHERIUM looked like a giraffe with antelope-like horns. Fossils of SIVATHERIUM have been found in parts of India, Pakistan, and Africa. Along with these animals, there were also other animals like the megalithic elephant, the giant hyenas, and the giant Sivapithecus, an ancient ape-like animal that lived during the Miocene epoch, approximately 12 to 9 million years ago. These are just a few examples of the prehistoric life that was present in the Indian subcontinent during this time. The fossil record of the region shows a natural biodiversity and helps us understand the animals that would have lived in the region during this time. During the Ice Age, which lasted from 2.6 million years ago to approximately 11,000 years ago, the subcontinent of India experienced various environmental changes. Here are some key aspects of what was happening in India around that time. The Ice Age was characterized by various glacial and interglacial periods, with alternating periods of warm and cool climate. The Indian subcontinent became drier and cooler overall, especially in the northern regions. The Himalayas acted as a barrier for the oncoming glacial sheets. However, the higher altitudes of the Himalayas did experience severe glaciation. Vegetation. The vegetation during the Ice Age was adapted to the diverse climatic conditions. In the colder north, there was a mix of coniferous forests and alpine meadows, whereas in the drier southern regions and coastal regions, there was a mix of scrub vegetation and dry grassland. Fauna. The Ice Age had a significant impact on the animal life in the Indian subcontinent. Some species, such as the woolly mammoth or the steppe bison, were used to the cold, harsh climate of the northern regions, but did not extend their reach all the way into the Indian subcontinent. However, there were unique animals that were present in the Indian subcontinent during this time. The fossil record suggests the presence of large mammals like the Indian elephant, the Indian rhinoceros, the water buffalo, and several species of deer. There were also predators that roamed the jungles of this time, such as lions, tigers, and leopards. Human presence. It is believed that early humans, including Homo erectus, may have already been present in the Indian subcontinent during the time of the Ice Age. Archaeological evidence, such as stone tools, suggest the presence of Homo erectus in the Thar Desert and the Sivalik Hills during this time. The Ice Age had a profound impact on the climate, biodiversity, and landscape of India. The changes in the climate and subsequent changes in the flora and fauna set the stage for the development of human civilization in this land. After the Ice Age, the climate became warmer and more humid. This led to the development of a lot of new species in the region. The most common species that live here today are elephants, lions, tigers, and rhinoceroses. And now, as we conclude this chapter on the pre-human history of India, we set the stage for our next chapter, the earliest human settlements in India. Join us on our next episode to find out about the archaeological wonders that were left behind by the earliest humans that walked this subcontinent. This is your host Aryan Sharma signing off.